Oxygen is running out, maybe less than 12 hours left, racing to locate the missing sub near the Titanic, hoping that the noises heard overnight provide some direction.
And what is it like to be inside OceanGate's Titan submersible when it loses communication with the surface? You're going to hear from someone who experienced that very thing.
A potential catastrophic outcome was waiting to happen, according to a former employee and an industry watchdog. Were safety concerns ignored by the submersible company? Those stories and more right here on CNN News Central.
We are getting new information in just the last few minutes on the search for the missing sub near the Titanic. The U.S. Coast Guard is redirecting its search this morning after a Canadian military plane picked up underwater noises. Now, there are 5 people on board running out of oxygen, running out of time. A new round of ships left Newfoundland this morning to join the search efforts. Now, noises are not uncommon in the open ocean, but rescuers say they heard banging sounds in 30-minute intervals, regular spaces. An ocean expert and friend of one of the missing sub passengers told us that fact could be significant.
The banging sounds are interesting because knowing P.H. Nargeolet and his experience with submersibles and his background in submarines, this is exactly how he would try to indicate that they were still alive and try to communicate with the surface. He would do some banging. You would do it on a regular schedule so that it was distinguishable from the background noises that are in the ocean all the time.
CNN's Miguel Marquez is in St. John's in Newfoundland, which is the closest landmass to where this search is going on. Miguel, what are you seeing this morning?
Well, we saw a lot of activity here overnight and early this morning. A Coast Guard ship, a third Canadian Coast Guard ship, now headed out that way. It takes 12, 18 hours to get from here to the site where they're searching. The Horizon Arctic left earlier this morning. This is after 3 U.S. military planes, C-17s, very big cargo planes for the U.S. military, flew into St. John's Airport, and that gear was put onto the Horizon Arctic, and that is on its way out there right now. With regard to the banging, they heard it over a 4-hour period. Every half hour or so, they put more sonar buoys into the ocean. They heard other noises later on, and it wasn't banging, but they're not clear what it was. They moved resources. They moved ships that were on the surface to the area where they thought the banging was coming from. They put remote operated vehicles down to the area, hoping to find the submersible, but they did not. So now they're putting more resources on it. They have several Coast Guard ships, Canadian Coast Guard ships, that do side sonar, which means they can basically map the bottom of the ocean looking for a visual signature of the submersible to see if they can find it in that area where that banging was coming from. But it is all hands on deck. If they are alive, they have very little time left, and people here and everywhere are just hoping that this terrifying ordeal comes to a happy ending. John?
Yeah, they still have hope, that's for sure, but we are waiting for more updates at this point from the Coast Guard and other officials. Miguel Marquez, keep us posted. Thank you very much. Kate?
Holding out hope with the understanding of just how risky, how dangerous it is down there, as everyone knows. And there's only a handful of people who have ever seen the Titanic's wreckage in person, but it is part of a growing trend known as extreme tourism, where people pay out huge sums of money to push the boundaries of conventional travel. It is understandably and inherently dangerous. And CNN has now learned that 2 years ago, CNN has learned that years ago, 2 employees raised safety concerns about the now missing OceanGate submarine. CNN's Tom Foreman has more on this. He's joining us now. Tom, what are you learning?
Well, hi, Kate. As the hours tick down, the questions are coming up more and more about how this reached this point, specifically how this submersible was developed. You mentioned the employees there. An industry group also jumped in, and there was a letter that was found by the New York Times from them in which they said about what was happening at OceanGate. Our apprehension is that the current experimental approach adopted by OceanGate in developing this craft could result in negative outcomes from minor to catastrophic. that would have serious consequences for everyone in the industry. And it went on to say your marketing material advertises that the Titan design will meet or exceed the DNV GL safety standards. These were standards developed a long time ago for this type of vessel. Yet it does not appear that OceanGate has the intention of following these class rules. Your representation is at minimum misleading to the public and breaches an industry-wide professional code of conduct we all endeavor to uphold. Simply put, Kate, years ago, there were people in the company and outside the company saying your approach to developing this craft is too experimental, too outside the norms, and is not being submitted to the standards that worldwide maritime organizations expect. Bottom line is, a vehicle like this, engineers will say, should be tested to maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 times the amount of pressure you expect to encounter. And the question is, was this one tested to that level at any point?
Yeah, you know the company is going to be facing these questions continued now going forward. It's good to see you, Tom.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Sarah?
Good seeing you.
All right. Joining us now is Titanic expert, scientist, undersea explorer, and a physician, Joe McInnes. Thank you so much. You were part of the first expedition to locate the wreckage of the Titanic, but you had an experience down there that may in some ways rival this. Did you actually get stuck without communications for a while, and what was that like?
Well, on my second dive to the Titanic, I made one in 1987 with the French government research sub, and then with the Russian research sub from the Russian Academy of Sciences in 1991. And on that dive, we made 17 dives to the Titanic. I co-led the expedition. We made 17 dives. We did the science. And on the last dive, I climbed into the sub with the chief pilot, and we went down to the Titanic and landed on the floor of the pilot house and spent some time reflecting about what we'd done and what we'd seen, and having a moment of respect for the ocean and for the Titanic accident. And as we were about to leave, the pilot pushed up the put on the thrusters. Up we went and stopped about a meter above the floor. Ooh. And then he put it back down. So he found out very quickly that we were stuck. And so wisely, because he was an excellent pilot, called in the second sub. And they came in, the two pilots talked about what the situation was. And we had put the pilot had slid his left side skid underneath the sub. When he landed, the skid went under some telephone wire. And so with the help of the second sub and conversations between the two, we moved up and down and backwards, and were able to kind of tiptoe out of that pretty tense situation. But again, it was great coordination, great pilots, great submarines.
Just thinking about being in that space for most of us humans feels anxiety-provoking, to say the least. Can you give me a sense of what it is like when you're in that scenario? You are 12,000 feet under the pressure of the water. What does it feel like? What is the sense of being there? And what might these explorers and these folks that went down there, businessmen as well, be feeling right now?
Well, I can't say, I can only imagine, like the rest of us, what they're feeling. It is a very confined space, the subs that we use. And so you get used to that. But for these folks who are doing this for the first time, it must be red line moments for them. But the news is that PH is with them. PH Nargilé is one of the members of the team. And you couldn't have a better person with you in a situation like this than PH, who's made 35 dives to the Titanic, who is calm under pressure. The best kind of leadership will be coming from PH. He will be calm, quiet, and doing all the right things to conserve energy, to conserve oxygen, and to conserve psychological, emotional energy as well.
Because that expends more oxygen as well if you start to hyperventilate or you start to freak out. Dr. McInnes, can you talk to me about how significant the sound that sonar has picked up? There has been every half an hour, for about 4 hours, a a banging sound is how it has been described. Is that something that you're trained to do, to try to make sound so that someone might find you? Or does that tell you that this is definitely human activity or something else?
Well, as your previous guest mentioned, it's an indication, possibly, of human activity that is coordinated. And again, this is the kind of thing that we would hope. We're all engaged in this kind of collective imagination of what's going on down there, and we're beset with fear and sadness and hope and uncertainty. But these sounds have given us a sense of hope, and let's hope that we can solve this problem before the oxygen runs out. We haven't got much time left.